Successful online marketers don't know how to get booked on podcasts either. Successful marketers, coaches, online entrepreneurs, course creators, experts, people that are in the game, spent tons of money on marketing, have grown their businesses. Yeah, turns out they don't know how to get booked on podcasts either, or how to guest speak on podcasts, which was very eye-opening. I'm going to talk about that on this episode and about how I could help them too, which will give you some opportunities and some takeaways to shortcut the process of guest speaking on podcasts. Listen in.
You know when someone is selling from stage and at the end the audience gets up and rushes to the back of the room to buy? That's a table rush. My name is Misha Z, and the Table Rush Talk Show is all about bringing you the tools, strategies, and tactics that you can use to grow your audience and inspire them to buy.
Yeah, so I was just at Funnel Hacking Live 2023 in Orlando, Florida, with 5,000 of my closest online marketing friends. There might have been 7,000 people there. I think there was 5,000 for sure. They were trying to get to 7,000. But there's all sorts of online entrepreneurs who are there in different stages of their online marketing journey. So you've got successful businesses that are now trying to bring their products, goods, services online in a big way. You've got people that are inspired entrepreneurs. What's the word when you're just getting started? Kind of aspiring entrepreneurs. That's what it is. So tons of aspiring entrepreneurs. You know, people that want to do something different. How do I say it? They're maybe have a job, 9-to-5 job, corporate job, and so they're into this side hustle thing, or maybe they're, early retired professionals or corporate burnouts who are like, yeah, I want to do something different. I want to bring my knowledge online and serve people as a consultant or a coach or a course creator or something like that. Tons of those people, by the way, and of all ages, shapes, and sizes, males, females, from all countries. But there's a lot of that. A lot of people who work, maybe 9-to-5 or the corporate grind or something like that, or it could be, 9-to-5 blue collar, or teachers, or, espresso pourers. And yeah, they're like, nope, don't want to work for the man, or I'm burdened out, or I don't want to put all these hours into something I'm not super passionate about. Some people have the resources just to quit their current jobs or professions or whatever and get after it. Some might still be working and, starting with calling it, you could call it a side hustle, but I'm not sure if I like the term side hustle. But, somebody who's they're starting to build something outside of their work. So they're in their spare time, they're creating, their online business. And then, of course, you've got, e-com people there. When I say e-com, that's people that are selling, physical products online. So it could be t-shirts, all the way to who knows what. They're selling physical goods online and they want to scale it up. And you have a whole layer of super successful people that have been doing it for a bit. They've built their businesses and they're really, doing very well. And perhaps they're wanting to expand their growth with organic traffic means. Organic traffic meaning you're not paying for the traffic, you're not paying for Facebook ads, you're not literally cutting a check to the social media giants, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, what have you, to grow your business, to get your leads, things like that. You're not paying other people necessarily. Does that make sense? And as the online ad space matures, which is kind of like saying it's getting more competitive, so ads are getting more expensive, more and more people are jumping into it, trying to grow their businesses online with ads, with social media marketing ads. And so it's getting very competitive, and the market has definitely shifted, and online marketing, paying for leads online, is getting more and more expensive. And so the return on investment is getting harder and harder to achieve, a positive return on investment. So you've got a whole bunch of successful entrepreneurs that have built good businesses that are trying to grow or maintain their growth, or even maintain the status quo, which is kind of like saying, when you say maintain the status quo, that's kind of like saying they just want to keep what they've got, right? And so they want to guest speak on podcasts to get this organic traffic, speak to audiences, and then people get to know, like, and trust you. They opt into your things and buy your stuff, right? And so I roll into Funnel Hacking Live with my Bad Zuck t-shirts, and you can see my current offer by going to badzuck.com, badzuck.com, and you can see my most current offer there. Go to badzuck.com, click on the link, and see what I've got about guest speaking on podcasts, or going on an influence tour, or building your affiliate partners, or all sorts of things, leveraging other people's audiences, leveraging other people's email lists. So I roll into Funnel Hacking Live with my Bad Zuck t-shirts on, and they're very funny. They're marketing the badzuck.com domain, made these really cool shirts with really cool fonts, logos, stuff like that. And Bad Zuck represents the futility of social media marketing, spending money in that space. Like, I've literally seen thousands of entrepreneurs spend all their money on social media marketing, and they have to exit the business because they have no money left. They're trying to learn social media advertising before they have their message dialed in, before they have their audience dialed in. In other words, that's a very expensive way to try to learn all that. And by the time you learn all that, you've got no money left, and you're in debt, and you're broke, and you're burned out. And I've seen that again and again and again. And again, your other option is organic traffic, growing organic leads by, putting yourself out there, speaking in front of other people's audiences, i.e., guest speaking on podcasts. And then I've also seen super successful entrepreneurs see their businesses collapse as the online marketing space shifts. All of a sudden, ads become a lot more expensive, or people get banned on Facebook because Facebook's super fickle, and all of a sudden they ban you. They shut down your account. So Bad Zuck is representative of that. And you can make that connection however you want. And I'm being very cognizant of not saying specific CEOs' names of the social media giants, because those guys can shut you down. And I actually have a story about that from my Wells Fargo days, but I should save that for another episode. You know what? I'm not going to. I'm going to tell that story right now. Hang in there with me. This, of course, is going to be a multi-part episode. We'll call this part 1. And we're going to have to go to a part 2 and a part 3, probably. But thank you so much for listening. And it's how I do podcasts. So if you like it, awesome. Send me an email. Say I love it. Or if you're like, I hate it when you do this, send me an email and let me know. My email's in the show notes. Yeah, so I went into Funnel Hacking Live promoting badzuck.com. Got it all over my t-shirts. I'm having great responses. One of my t-shirts says, guest speak on 50 podcasts in 100 days, with a cool graphic, and then the domain badzuck.com. And I'll do another episode that speaks to that and that whole process. The t-shirt and the creative process around that, and what I was hoping to achieve and how I actually achieved it. So when I was at Wells Fargo Home Mortgage, and I was very successful selling home loans at Wells Fargo Home Mortgage, I was a home loan officer, and I did a ton of direct mail to consumers, direct mail campaigns to get the phone to ring. So I would send out flyers to get the phone to ring, so people would call in when they got the flyer. And this could be for refinances or purchases. I was very good at it. I was good at mining the data to find the leads. Anyway, and I was also, embracing some online marketing stuff, not necessarily like lead gen, trigger leads they called them. So this was back in the early 2000s to mid 2010s. I was mostly in home loans. Not mostly, I was in home loans 15 years. But I had registered uswells.com, uswells.com, and I would send people there all the time to fill out loan applications or do different things in regards to the process. So I was a little ahead of some people as far as collecting the required documentation that you need to get somebody's home loan done, and by answering people's questions there's always the same questions that are asked. And so I could say, hey, go to uswells.com, and that would solve a lot of problems for me. Well, Wells Fargo is extremely protective of their brand, as they should be. Wells Fargo Bank, Wells Fargo Home Mortgage, the value of the brand itself is in the billions of dollars, right? So they like to protect that brand. And so if you've got a guy like me that's going a little bit rogue, nothing crazy by any means, but you're sending people to US Wells and you've got the Wells Fargo logo on there and doing those sorts of things, well, at some point they figure it out. It turns out I learned all this. And they're like, hey, cease and desist. Literally got an email, cease and desist on this US Wells, and not only cease and desist, but turn over that domain to us. And I was like, what? Cease and desist I get, but you saying that I have to give you that domain? Oh, wait a minute here. And so it kind of freaked me out, right? I was like, oh my gosh, this is pretty intense. So what I ended up doing was just repointing US Wells to a different place. So if you went to US Wells, you would get forwarded to, well, what I did was I did a quick Google search of data on U.S. oil wells. I found this really, this public info website that gave you all kind of ridiculous data that nobody really cares about except for oil well people on U.S. oil wells. So I pointed U.S. wells to that, and then I just replied to the email and I said, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. U.S. wells is about U.S. oil well statistics. And it solved that problem. Side note on that, at the time, I was having so much success with the U.S. wells that I was, registering all kinds of domains like that. So it was like, msnrates.com, all these things that like had popular brands in them with a little catchword attached to it. And I changed my strategy after that. Anyhow, so now I'm like badzuck.com. Like, you get to make the leap. I'm not going to do it for you. So, could be like bad luck if you want it to be. Anyway, badzuck.com. Starting tons of conversations, especially my t-shirt that says guest speak on 50 podcasts in 100 days. And so successful entrepreneurs were seeing that t-shirt as I'm walking around in the mass of people, and they'd grab me and go, I want to guest speak on 50 podcasts in 100 days. And it would start a conversation. And the things I learned are very interesting, so I'm going to go over it on part 2. Thank you for listening to part 1. I apologize for riffing, but I have set you up for part 2, so listen to part 2, and I will tell you what I learned from those successful entrepreneurs who want to guest speak on podcasts and how they're actually not ready. Okay, listen in for part 2.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Table Rush Talk Show. For resources to help you sell your stuff, go to belove.media/resources. That's belove.media/resources. And be sure to subscribe, comment, 5-star, and share. Thank you again for listening.